This is JT from the Poko Moonshine family. We're back again with another episode of Chatting with Carnivores. Today we got Brian from Wick Goes Carnivore. How you doing, bud?
Hey, I'm good. How are you doing?
I am doing great, man. It's another beautiful day on Carnivore. I'm starting to feel like I'm 18 years old, man. I'm telling you, and I just turned 34. I don't know what's up with this diet, but I absolutely love it. How are you feeling today?
Good. Yeah, I'm a little bit older than you there. I'm 49, pushing 50 here, but
You look
I
great,
feel,
dude.
oh, thanks. I feel the best I've felt in years and years, probably since my 30s, to be honest.
Yeah, dude, you look like you're in your 30s at least, man. I mean, you look great, man.
Thanks.
Now, where are you from and where are you at now, Brian?
All right. So, I live in Virginia and I started, um, really gaining weight like in my mid to late 20s, right? My wife originally, when she got pregnant with twins, and I gained a lot of the weight with her. And of course, she lost the weight when the babies were born, and I didn't lose the weight.
Oh no.
Yeah.
They
So,
always say the ladies got it easier. What the hey happened? I
yeah,
mean,
well,
they say the guys got it easier. This time it was reversed.
it's funny because she, for some reason, when she was pregnant with the twins, she really craved salads from Outback Steakhouse. So she got the salad and I got the steak, and I just kept eating the steak, but I would get like potatoes and stuff like that too. And you know, it it just snowballed on me, right? So yeah, that kind of happened. I'd say it was like my very late 20s. I got diagnosed with high blood pressure and I went on blood pressure medication, and just struggled with my weight ever since. Um, I've tried many different diets, like Weight Watchers and just all the different things you can think of out there, except I never tried vegan. So I'm glad I never tried that, but I never did try that. um, and in 2017, I actually lost quite a bit of weight doing something that was kind of low carb, but it also was low fat. So it wasn't very sustainable. So I lost a lot of weight with it, but then I kind of started slipping because, I just wasn't getting what I needed in the diet. And I quickly gained the weight back. And then in 2018, I was diagnosed with AFib. And that is a heart thing where the signals get messed up going to your heart for doing your heartbeat. So the best way I like to explain it is like your heart will beat just normal like this. And then you go into AFib episodes and it'll be like this. And then it'll start beating really, really, really fast. And then it
Mm,
goes back like this and then starts beating really, really fast and so forth.
like an irregular heartbeat.
Yeah, it's an irregular heartbeat that goes fast.
Mm,
Um, so I got diagnosed with that in 2018, and the cardiologist said that that was something that was mostly hereditary, and my father did have it, by the way, and also said that it would get worse over time, and there wasn't a whole lot you could do about it. But one thing that you could look into was an ablation, where they go into your heart and they find the spots in there that um, the spots that are causing the mixed signals or whatever, and they freeze those out. So that was one option, but this was still early on. And over the next couple of years, the number of episodes increased, and I was really overweight, and I was depressed about it, and just never had any energy to do anything, for boy, I don't even know how long, but for years, like I just never really wanted to go out and do things. I always just wanted to sit around and so forth. And I decided that it was time to do something about that and find something. And I knew some people that had started doing the keto diet of maybe a year or so before that, and they were having good results. So I started looking up a lot on that. I found Dr. Ken Berry and I started doing keto. But at the same time, I was continuing to research and I was starting to get interested in the carnivore diet. and it seemed like going full carnivore was really the way for me to go. Between Dr. Barry, Dr. Sean Baker, Professor Bart Kay, a few others out there, I just decided that that was the way to go. So I finally did that, and um, that would have been July of 2022. So I'm almost at 15 months now on carnivore.
Wow.
When I went to that, I had already been doing keto for a couple months, and I lost a little bit of weight, but I didn't see much of a difference with like my AFib. I also had really bad arthritis in my toes, and a lot of joint pain, back pain, different things like that. Didn't really see a difference with my mood, depression, that kind of stuff. And I know it had only been a couple months, but I hadn't seen that difference. So I started doing carnivore, and also at that time, the AFib episodes were to the point of a couple episodes a week. Within the first few weeks, my joint pain and arthritis seemed to be gone. I started to get a better mood. I was happier. And within a couple of months, I was at the point that like I'd get done working or something, and I could tell my wife, well, let's go out and do something. And she'd be like, you never want to do anything. Are you sure about that? I was like, yeah. So obviously my mood was getting better. I felt like doing things. I had more energy and so forth. And then I noticed that I wasn't having any AFib episodes anymore. And I'm now probably a good 13 to 14 months without a single AFib episode. And I was having 2 a week at least before that.
Good for you, Brian.
Thanks. So that's one of the huge things for me, right? Is the AFib. That was something where I was pretty much told that there wasn't much I could do about it unless I went and did an ablation. And then they didn't know for sure that that would completely fix it, or it could come back over time, especially with being a little bit younger, that was something that most likely over time would come back and so forth. So it's interesting that they never really talked about diet other than you should lose a little bit of weight and that might help a little bit, but they never talked about diet, the type of things you're eating, the fact that sugar can have a huge effect on the signals going from your brain to your heart, which is what AFib, the problem is. So that's amazing for me. The arthritis in the big toes, I actually had x-rays that showed the arthritis. And now I can bang my toes and I have no problems at all, or it'll be sore for like a day or something and that's it. But it was the point before going on carnivore that like, even without banging my toes, just like if I walked a little bit longer, my entire foot would swell up and I'd have trouble walking, where I'd basically be hauled up on the couch for between 1 to 2 weeks. And it didn't matter what I did, I'd ice it. I'd use heating pad, try soaking it in a bath, Motrin or whatever. It didn't seem to help it. It would take a week to 2 weeks. But within probably a month of being on carnivore, that kind of issue stopped. And I mean, I would say, boy, about 3 months ago, I banged my toe really good. Like it really kind of hurt. But it never swelled up, and it was sore for a few days, and that was it. And that was the worst banging that I can remember having. Like I banged it on, the metal bracket on a bed. Yeah, you know how painful that stuff can be, right?
Yeah, I've
So
done
that's
that.
what I
Going to
did.
take a leak in the middle of the night, and it's like, ah.
Yeah, so that's what I did, and like it was really hard. Like I thought for a bit there that maybe I, chipped a bone or something in there, but it never swelled up on me or anything.
We got to put
I
some
was just
foam
sore for a
around
couple
that stuff
days.
for you, Brian.
Yeah,
Baby proof
exactly.
it.
So that was huge for me. And the inflammation is pretty much gone. Like I've told people before about this. So when I told you that back in 2017, I lost a lot of weight. Part of that thing that I was doing is I was doing some pretty strenuous workouts. But with doing that, I looked crazy because I had like ankle braces on, knee braces, wrist braces, elbow brace because I was just so sore, you know.
Mm.
And usually working out, there would be something that would happen and I cause some sort of flare up. And now when I work out, I don't wear any of those braces and I don't have any issues. And it used to always be in the past that I would be sore like later that day or the next day from working out. And I'm not sore anymore the next day. It's like I feel ready to go, like I could work out again. So it's crazy the way all that stuff works, you know. Your body just seems to heal faster and so forth and rejuvenate itself faster when you're on the carnivore diet. So those are a lot of the things. There's many other things, like I mentioned, my mood, and the little bit of mild depression. I call it mild depression. It wasn't really bad, but that's all gone. I've been much happier. And another thing that I notice is I'm a much calmer person. And this is something that I would say took probably a little more time, right? Like I kind of noticed it a little bit as time went on, months and months. And, 6 months, it was better. 9 months, a year, it was better, and so forth. But I was just much more calmer. Like in the past, um, certain situations that would arise, I would get upset. I would yell, get mad, whatever, right? And now it's like, I'm just like, okay, I guess I understand that, but I don't get upset like I used to. And it's just weird that just by changing your diet that can happen, but it has definitely happened to me.
Yeah, it's happened to me too. Even when I'm driving now, I used to like have a little bit of road rage, like have to like compete with the guy next to me and see who can go faster. So
Exactly.
now I actually, and it's funny with my bucket hat on, I'm going to just the speed limit. I'm just so chilled and relaxed that they're beeping at me. They go around, and I think they think I'm some little old lady or something. I've got this hat on, and then they fly around me, and flick me off, and I'm just waving. I'm like, "Hey, how you doing?" Like I don't know what your problem is. I'm just enjoying life. So I actually am much calmer. Um, it's very nice compared to I actually found my coach because I had a lot of anger problems. Went on YouTube and typed in like how to get rid of anger. And I
Mm.
found some other guy and I didn't like what he was saying, but the video right underneath it was my coach. And I clicked on him and he was talking about vibrations and frequencies. I was like, what's this got to do with anger? Is this guy losing his marbles? But yeah, it's Bob and the carnivore diet, everything is I'm in a much better place. So I'm glad that you're in a better mental health place too. It feels good, doesn't it?
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is.
Not be
It's
triggered by
funny.
people and things, to just
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And that road rage thing is funny that you bring that up because I used to be like that too. Like I live in an area that's got some really bad traffic, and sometimes you just sit there in traffic forever. And yeah, it's totally different now. It's like you don't really seem to care. It doesn't bother you like it used to.
yeah,
So it's great.
just smile and wave at them and see how they react. That's like my favorite thing now because they might even think they go to church with you or something. They're like, "Oh gosh, who was that?" But
Yeah.
how many meals a day are you eating, Brian?
So right now I'm eating two, and when I first started, I was eating two, and then I went down to one. And so let me explain that a little bit. So, first thing is when I first started, I was like, yeah, I can do two meals, but I see all these people talking about OMAD and I just don't see how it's possible. Like, I'm always getting hungry. And I just didn't realize the difference when you're eating the high fat diet that you just don't get hungry as often, right? So, I went in at two and um, it it seemed to work pretty well for me. I did that for quite a while. Matter of fact, I think I did that for probably 8 months or so, and then I kind of went to OMAD by mistake. So I got to the point that I was like, I'm just going to get really strict. I'm going to meat, salt, and water. So I was eating a lot of ribeyes, and I'd eat like a 20 to a 24-ounce steak somewhere in there and just salt it up with the Redmond's salt and drink water, and that was it. And I kind of found like, okay, I wasn't hungry to eat later, and I just would eat the next day. And as long as I was doing that, where I was eating steak or at least ribeyes, that was working for me. And I did that for like a month or a month and a half, and it helped my weight loss more too. Um, but then I kind of got to the point I was like, well, this is a little bit more expensive doing ribeyes all the time, first of all. But I also miss some other foods. Like I liked bacon, I like chicken wings and stuff like that. So I went back to eating some of those things. And when I did that, I found that I started getting hungry again in the evenings because I was eating like more like around noon, 1 o'clock in the afternoon. So at that point, I kind of went back to 2 meals again. And most of the time, that's what I'm doing. Um, what I do though is I just kind of eat when I'm hungry, right? So there's been a couple times here that I've only eaten 1 meal in the day because I just didn't get hungry again. But most of the time, I do end up having 2 meals. So yeah.
It's
Uh,
it depends on. I don't have any set. It's just I eat when I'm hungry, and some days I'm more hungry than others. You know, some days I literally can. It's like steak after steak after steak is just gone. Like the other day, I could not stop eating meat because I don't know if it's because I'm getting closer to my goal weight, but I was like,
mm,
holy moly! I just ate thing after thing, and I was like still hungry. I felt like a madman. Wow.
yeah.
What are you eating in a week, Brian? I know
Well,
ribeyes you mentioned.
yeah. So I will tell you though what you were just saying. I've definitely seen that. I'm like a few days short of 15 months now on the carnivore diet, and as I've gone on, I seem to eat more than I used to eat at the beginning. So I think it's just part of the getting closer to, like you said, the goal weight and being more in maintenance mode and so forth. Um, so let's see, a typical week for me though, eating, I would say, um, most of the time I do eat steak. I will eat other things. I will have eggs and I will have bacon and I like chicken wings. I'll usually have chicken wings a couple times a week. Um, Typically that's easier for me to have at lunchtime. And then if I do that, I'll have usually like a steak in the evening. Um, there are times that I'll just cook up a pound of bacon and that's my lunch. I'll eat a pound of bacon and then have whatever it is in the evening. I do like to have chuck roast, and yeah, right now I've been mostly cooking that just up in like a crock pot. Um, I've been looking at potentially doing like a sous vide option, and doing them as chuck steaks, but I haven't really done that. I think I tried it once so far, and that was it. So I haven't done that too much. Um, and I will eat eggs. I don't get really big on eggs, but usually it'll be like part of a meal or something. So if I have a smaller steak, then I'll eat like 2 or 3 eggs with it or something. Sometimes I'll have like a pound of ground beef and I'll put a couple eggs in there or something like that. That's the majority of what I eat. I will eat some pork. Matter of fact, I just more recently did a um, pulled pork on smoked pulled pork and had some of that. But yeah, it's usually more toward beef that I go with, and then the occasional chicken wings, or if it's chicken, it's usually chicken wings or it's chicken thighs. Just so I got the skin on them and get a little bit more fat in there and that type of stuff. So
So do you try to prioritize the more fatty meats?
yeah, I do. And if I don't have as much fat, then I'm finding ways to get the fat right. So whether it's maybe adding some butter to it or something like that. And I like to, so when I make bacon, I'll keep that bacon grease, right? The bacon fat, and I'll use that sometimes to cook food in as well.
Me
So
too.
to
I'll
get that
cook
extra
my
fat content.
burgers with that bacon grease. Put more
Yeah.
fat right in the meat.
Yep.
Man, you're making me hungry, Brian. I am hungry all
Oh.
of the time, you guys. I don't do this OMAD stuff, man. You guys will see, man. When you get closer to your goal weight, you're gonna be hungry all of the time because there's nothing on your body for to eat off of. So it's gonna ask you for new
Yeah.
more substance.
Yeah, definitely.
I'd say
Yep.
that's the only downside I've seen on the carnivore diet is the fact that I'm just I my hunger is gone up now. But the other dangerous thing is putting my hand in the air fryer and like burning my wrist all. So I keep forgetting to use the tongs. So
Yeah.
be careful reaching in your air fryers, guys. Carnivore diet isn't dangerous, but there are a few things there. Um,
Yeah.
what was a challenging thing, or was there anything challenging for you to start carnivore diet?
Um, so the biggest challenge thing I think is that I'm the only one in the family that's doing it. And originally, when I first started, my entire family was here. So I have 3 kids, and they were all here. Now they're all away at school at this point. So it's just my wife and I, and then my mother-in-law stays with us. But it was more challenging when the kids were there because there tend to be a lot more snack food in the house, and trying to stay away from that, especially early on, you get a lot of cravings and so forth.
Yeah, if I see a Rice
And
Krispie, my mind will start to wander, guys. I don't need it near me, man. I don't need it near me.
yeah, and I still will get cravings at certain times. So um, that's really probably the biggest challenge for me is just staying away from that food. And
Saying no, man.
yeah, like the other thing is like if you do have something, okay, then realize, all right, I did it, move on. Don't sit there and say like, okay, well, I did it. I'm just gonna keep eating that way today and start tomorrow. No, no, stop now because otherwise it's gonna snowball. So just stop
Drop
after
it. Just
whatever it
drop
was
it,
you
right?
ate. Yep. You have to cook up some bacon or something and get rid of that craving.
Mm. Yeah, I feel like bacon's an always a good safe food to fall back on if you feel like you are having a bad craving or you've got off of the wagon, the carnivore wagon. It's easy to jump back on with a pack of bacon.
Yeah. So one
Let's
thing
just
I didn't
Yeah, what you
I
got?
was gonna say one thing I didn't tell you at the beginning there was my actual weight loss. I like to talk a lot about some of the non-scale things, but I have lost quite a bit of weight,
I think it's
and
around 75 pounds, right?
so I'm
At least
actually up
my
to
notes.
80 now. As of a couple days ago, I'm up to 80 pounds
Ooh, I
lost.
gotta change my notes. 80
Yeah.
pounds, guys.
So
Wow.
yeah, that's kind of new. So hasn't really been publicized out there too much, but I am up to 80 pounds now.
Good for
The
you.
interesting thing is that over
I'm
the
at
first
86
probably,
pounds.
wow, that's great. And you've been doing a lot less than me. Right? You
Uh,
haven't been
well,
at 15 months,
no,
right?
no, no. I didn't lose all my weight on carnivore. I lost a good
Okay.
portion of it cutting out beer and soda. But I
Yeah,
still
okay.
had the sleep apnea and the IBS. So that's, I guess, kind of that was my why, was to get rid of the sleep apnea and the IBS. So it wasn't really a, I did, who doesn't want to lose more weight and look better? But man, when
Right.
you almost die from sleep apnea, that was mission number one, to get rid of that and have that knocked out of the park, get that as far away from me as possible. What was your reason
Mhm.
why, if we cut into it?
Um, so my real reason why was sort of like weight loss, but not as much. It was really yes, weight loss is part of it, but what it really was that um I felt like I was getting to a point that I wasn't going to live very much longer with the way I was going and how much I weighed and so forth. And I really wanted to get healthy, lose the weight, get healthy, and watch my kids grow up and have kids of their own and be a grandparent and all that kind of stuff. So that's really the why for me.
That's a great why.
Yeah.
Let's just check out a few comments here, see what
Yeah.
everybody's up to. Hey, we got Rick in the house. He says, "Well, Brian is the
Right.
next in the chat series." Yes, he is. Hello, Brian. Hey, Rick, Brian, and JD. How you doing, Susie? Karen. Hello. My weight loss life. Hello. How you doing? Judy, next time push the CC captions, please, for the hearing impaired. Yeah, I'm not sure how to do that on
Mm.
StreamYard. I'm not using YouTube. I'm using YouTube
Mm.
through a different website, and I'm not sure how to do that. You sure how to do that? You have any knowledge on that, Brian?
I've never looked into it.
We'll
I
check it
don't
out,
know.
and we'll have to. Maybe I can see on the upcoming streams. I'm not trying to dog anybody. It's just I'm using StreamYard, and I'm not sure if StreamYard has that option. It always fun seeing someone who interviewed me a while back. Oh, there you interviewed Rick. Nice.
Yeah, he was my first interview, actually.
Oh, Rick, you were his first. That's so cute. Adam from Carnivore Today was my first. You gotta start
Cool.
somewhere.
Yeah,
You know.
Adam's great.
Yeah, he is. Judy, hey from San Diego. How you doing? How's San Diego out there? Bet it's beautiful. Former fat girl. Happy Monday, everyone. How you doing, Nicole? Hopefully you're not tackling anybody out there today. Hopefully you had a nice, easy day. Didn't have to tackle anybody. Let's see if we got some cues. Oh, here we go. It's not a cue, but oh, cool. I had twins and wound up 32 pounds lighter than my pre-pregnancy weight right after they were born. Good for you.
Mm.
His wife lost the weight too after the twins, so
Yeah, she did. I just didn't.
Judy, don't forget to smash the like button. Yeah, she's right. Judy, good on you. I need some more cheerleaders in the comment section here. One leg, no carbs. Howdy, carnivores. How you doing? All right, now let's see if we find a cue here. We did some shout outs and stuff here. Carnivore Brothers, hey all, how you doing? Oh, this is funny. I wish Carnivore would help me with my road rage. LOL, I still have no patience. Keep working at it, Susie. Just smile and wave. Like those penguins from Madagascar. Just smile and wave. Just smile and wave, boys. It's the best bet to do. Oh, here we go. Rick's got a tip for you. Drive an old junky truck. It reduces road rage. Okay. That's a good tip, Rick. What's up, John? Carnivore Backwoods. He's one of my moderators. Let's see. Carnivore Brothers. I used to be able to pound a large pizza by myself. I can barely eat a small ribeye in one sitting now. Yeah, that might change. It might not. Like for me, I did not eat as much meat as I'm eating right now when I started carnivore diet, but now, wow, man, I'm nearing day 100 and I can eat.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can tell you in the spring. So this would have been like 6 months ago. I was struggling to eat a 20-ounce ribeye, and I know I can eat close to 32-ounce ribeye right now. So
Yeah,
in
it
one
just,
setting.
and I think that's because your body fat's going down, Brian. You have less
Yeah,
fat on you to feed on. So your body's like, you're going to have to give me more ribeye.
yeah,
There's just less of Brian to go around. So now we need more ribeye to go around. It's a
right.
good problem to have, though. It really is, man. No one wants to carry around all that extra fat on them. And then your back hurts and your knees and your feet and everything
Mhm.
else is just a problem. Rick, two
And it,
pounds of meat per meal for me. There you go. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, it's just crazy how it's the opposite of what they tell you. They tell you that you gotta, eat in moderation, but if you're eating the right things, you're eating meat, you actually can eat more, and it's actually better for you. You lose weight eating more. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I have not gained any weight. I've lost a half pound maybe the last 2 weeks, so I'm not gaining anything, but not really losing anything either. I'm think I'm getting very close to my goal weight, so things are just
Yeah.
kind of sitting there right now. Hey there, Team Carnivore, Keto Vorgonian. I love that name. Do you guys find bacon gets too salty if you eat lots in a meal? I don't. I actually take the bacon and dip it back into the pan when the grease is still soft, and so it's all like literally dripping. And then I love it. What
Yeah.
about you, Brian? Does it get too salty for you?
It does not, but I'm a salt freak. I like to use my Redmond salt. I season my food very liberally with salt. And it's
I
funny
put Redmond's
because
on the bacon, so I hate to scare you out there.
my, I'll tell you, my doctor told me that like you've got to, cut out the salt because you got high blood pressure on that stuff. And my blood pressure is lower now, and I eat more salt than I used to. It's a high quality salt. I'm not just eating any type of salt out there anymore, but yeah, I eat a lot more salt than I used to, and it doesn't affect me at all. I like it.
Yeah, so we're liking the salt. Uh Running tap 12. We're liking the salt. We'll bring it on. It actually could be saltier for me. Maybe just drink some more water or something. I don't know. What
Mm.
might help that out? Let's see. Yeah, Susie says I eat a lot more now than when I started on carnivore about 1 year and 8 months ago. Wow, good for you. Been on it for a while, Susie. Yeah, Let us know in the comments. Are you guys eating more than when you started the carnivore diet now?
Mhm.
Like, can you eat more meat now? Let's hear from you. Let's see. Let's see here. Just trying to see. You guys got a Q question for Brian. Put a Q in front of it. And there's so many comments, man. I barely keep up here. All right, let's get back to some of our own questions here.
Mm.
Um, what? So, what do you do when someone in your family kind of gives you crap about your diet, or a friend, or a coworker, or something? What do you do in those social situations?
So it's actually not too bad. When I first started, there was a little bit of that from the family, and it like my wife would be like, I'm not sure that you're doing the right thing. I
You eat
kind
all
of
this bacon.
yeah, it's like I'm kind of worried that you're going to give yourself a heart attack or something, but I'll let you try it. It's all right. And then as she saw that I was losing weight, and I'd get my blood work done, and like my triglycerides used to be really really high, and now they're nice and low. My HDL went up. She's like, yeah, okay. And even to the point that she's talked a bit about maybe doing more like keto, not necessarily carnivore. So she's been doing a little more meat based than she used to. Just that's more recent, like here in the last few weeks or so.
That's great.
Um, but yeah, my oldest daughter, she kind of was a little skeptical at first as well, but she sees the results of what I've done, and she seems to be fine about it. Other friends like outside of the family have been really accommodating. Like if we were going to go to their house for like a party or something, we get there and they'll be like, yeah, I got this extra meat here and here. I want to make sure there was plenty of meat for you so you didn't feel bad. You had plenty of meat to eat. So I'm like, cool. And I at work, I normally don't like to say anything, but one time a few months ago, I finally was like, well, I'm just gonna say something. If they think I'm crazy, I'm crazy, whatever. And I said something and thinking that they were gonna be like, "You're nuts. What are you thinking?" But instead, they were like, "Yeah, that kind of makes sense. I can see why doing that." And I was like, "Okay." So I haven't seen a lot of that, is people saying that I shouldn't do that and so forth. What's funny is I've seen more on social media, for instance, like on YouTube, of people replied to my videos or just that contacted me through YouTube saying like, yeah, you shouldn't eat like that. We're meant to eat plants or whatever, and you're going to kill yourself doing that. But people that I know and so forth, nobody's really the people that should be more concerned about me. They haven't really, seemed to think that it was a bad thing necessarily for the most part.
Yeah, don't sweat those types of. I get those comments too, man. I've been told I'm still fat. I'm gonna have a heart attack. All sorts of nonsense. I just ignore them and keep on going, man. There's no point to.
Yeah.
I don't argue with people, man. They can think whatever they want to think, and me telling them something ain't gonna change their opinion, and ain't gonna change mine. So we might as well just part ways. And
Well, that's a good point though. Like early on, I wasn't as calm, and I'd get comments like that, and I'd respond back. I'd be like, "Well, I don't know what you're talking about because there's this evidence of this and that." And now it's like I don't even worry about it. But that just
yeah,
shows
first
the
it's like
difference
you
in the
are
calmness.
crazy. Bacon is
Yeah,
the best thing ever. Screw you.
exactly, exactly.
Yeah, no, I feel like even with the road rage, man, in the comments, man, I actually send those people love, man. When I get a comment like that, I'm like, this person obviously is not having a good day, or they're not happy with their lives or themselves. Because, man, if you can't tell, man, I'm real happy. I'm wearing a crazy bucket hat, man. I'm down almost down to my goal weight. Like it doesn't bother you, man, when you know you're treating yourself well and you're having fun. It just doesn't bother you when people try to get on you and deflect their garbage.
Yeah, and isn't that great too? Like you, I mean, when I grew up, like I would have loved to been able to say that I could eat meat all the time. Like you get to eat meat all the time. You can have steak and so forth. That's great. Like
Yeah, my
before, I
parents
used to
thought
think that
bacon all the
that
time
wasn't
wasn't good
healthy.
for you, and we even
Yeah,
patted the
exactly.
bacon down to take the grease and the fat out of it. I'm telling you, yeah, that's
Yeah,
And now I take the bacon, I dip it back into the sitting grease, and literally like I flip it even to its other side so both sides are wet, and then it's like dripping, and I'm like, oh, this is the greatest thing ever. Really is.
Yeah.
What do you find interesting or unique about the carnivore diet?
Hmm. Interesting and unique.
I think we kind of just
Well,
mentioned, at least for me, the fact that I can eat all meat. Like
yeah.
contrary to what people think. But what is something you find unique about it?
I think it's interesting that before I found this way of eating, I was the type of person that totally believed in you need to eat less, you need to have less carbs and so forth to lose weight. And it was about kind of starving your body in order to lose weight.
Mm.
And it's really just the opposite. And I mean, like, I don't even want to get into the discussion about carbs because that's a measurement of heat. It's not really the food, but that's besides the point. But just the fact that if you're eating the right foods, you eat until, like, Dr. Bray will say, you eat until you're comfortably stuffed, right? And if you're eating meat, it's kind of hard to get to that point, like where you're just like, oh God, I ate too much. But when you think about when you see carbs all the time, if you ate too much, you were like, oh, I just feel so bad. But you don't get that anymore. That doesn't happen with this diet. So to me, that's kind of the interesting, unique thing that I would say.
Yeah, to fill up and not feel sluggish, to fill up and
Yeah.
actually feel
Have
like
energy.
rejuvenated. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, actually I like that. That's very good.
Yeah.
Yeah. What advice would you give to someone considering transitioning over to the carnivore diet from whatever diet they're on now?
Hmm. So the best advice that I would give is to slowly ease into it, especially if you're on a very high carb diet. A lot of the people that end up quitting the carnivore diet, they quit in the first 30 days. And a lot of that has to do with the problems you have going from a high carb diet to a carnivore diet or a keto diet. That's why they talk about the keto flu and so forth, right? Um, you're totally changing things, and your gut has to adjust to it. And not to mention that you're going to a higher fat intake, and it takes a bit to get adjusted to the higher fat intake as well. So the best thing is to kind of ease into it. If you're going from just your standard American diet, it probably isn't even bad to say that you're going to go, like, kind of ease into keto and do that for a few weeks and then kind of ease into the carnivore. So a good rule of thumb is probably take 6 to 8 weeks to ease into the diet. First of all, eliminate the sugars and the seed oils. Those are two biggest things. Get rid of those quickly. And then um, once you've done that, slowly go the rest of the way. And, over that 6 to 8 week period, you might still run into some of the issues that people do run into there for a couple of weeks with their, you know, going to the bathroom and so forth,
Mhm.
but it won't be as bad. And you're probably not going to have those really sluggish, feelings that people get. Just the change, can be pretty tough. So that would be the biggest thing that I would say is do ease into it.
That's great advice. Did you get the keto flu at all?
Uh, Not really, no. So
Yeah, I
I
didn't.
did kinda ease into it because I went to keto first, and I kinda slowly went to keto, and then I kind of, after a couple months, went into carnivore. But I did, when I went straight carnivore, I did have maybe 3 or 4 days of, loose stools.
Yeah,
So I
that's
did
to be
have that.
expected.
Yeah.
Your
But it
body's
wasn't
trying to
as
get rid of
bad
a
as
lot of
other
junk
people.
that's in you.
Yeah, like, some people, like, you hear Joe Rogan talk about, like, it's, like, 2 weeks, it's, like, mad, like, you gotta be around the bathroom almost all the time, like, it wasn't that bad for me, but I also kinda eased into it, so.
Rick's a 40-year carnivore, and he says he suggests to people who are interested in carnivore to try keto first, and that's coming from a guy who's been doing carnivore for 40 years. And I'm glad you
Mhm.
mentioned Joe Rogan. I got nothing against him, but like he literally said in one of like his last time he was talking about carnivore diet that he's doing the carnivore diet, but he's also eating fruits and vegetables. I just want him to
Mhm.
know that that's not the carnivore diet. That's called keto. Um,
Yeah.
I'm just putting that out there, you guys. If you're eating fruits and vegetables, you're not on the carnivore diet. I'm just trying to be real with you guys. And you can eat fruits and vegetables. If that works for Joe Rogan, that's fine, but he's not on the carnivore diet. He might be eating more meat, but he's doing keto. So until he tells me he's cut out vegetables and fruits, he's not doing carnivore. Just wanted to throw that out there. It kind of annoys me when he says he's doing carnivore, then he tells you people he's eating fruits and vegetables. Like, what are you doing, dude?
Yeah.
Um, where do you go for your carnivore content? Like, what are some cool channels that you watch, Brian, so we can keep
Mm.
them on our radar?
So, one of the channels that has been around since kind of when I first started carnivore or close to it, a few months into carnivore, that I took a lot of inspiration from is Dave Mack's channel. What is it? No Carb Life, I think, or something like that. It's called.
It's either low
Um,
carb or no carb. I get it confused
yeah,
all the time.
yeah,
Sorry,
I
Dave.
do
I love
too.
you. I
I
love
do
you.
too. But that's a big one that I've been watching for quite a long time. Carnivore Quest, they've been around for like ever. So I definitely them. Um, Intentional Carnivore, Sean White, you know,
It's my buddy.
he's so inspirational and he's just easy for people to relate to and so forth. So that's a big one. Um, you know, Professor Bart K, he's um his channel has a particular group, I guess, of people that are more interested in with the way that he portrays things, the character that he plays on his channel. But he's so smart and he can really break down the science on things. So I really like to watch that channel. Um, there's just gosh, there's so many of them. Uh, I do watch your channel. I watch Carrie's Homestead How, Alia Wells, um, my weight loss life, Greg, Carnivore Carnivore Soldier, Carnivore Backwoods. Man, there's so many of them out there. I just go all around really. Yeah,
I
there's
try to
so
watch as
many.
much
I
as I
know I
can
missed a
when I
bunch too.
can, because
Yeah.
it's tough, man. When you got a channel that you're YouTubing yourself, people don't understand like all the work that goes into behind the scenes, the thumbnails, planning the video, filming the video,
Mm,
editing the video, going to the location, finding farms. I'm interviewing all sorts of stuff. So like I'm literally busy so much, like it's like I love it though. I just running out of time, but I find myself watching a lot of the YouTube carnivore channels at about like 12 a.m. when I lay down because I'm up now till like 3 o'clock in the morning every day, man. Like I only get about 5 hours of sleep and I can go like the Energizer Bunny. Just go, go,
yeah.
go. How many hours of sleep are you getting, Brian?
I'd say I'm probably getting about 7 to 8, but before carnivore, I needed at least 8 to 9, if not more
Dude,
than
I
that.
needed like 12 and they were 12 horrible hours, like. And now it's like
Yeah.
I'm doing 5 or 6 and I'm so grateful because now I feel better than I did with the 12 hours of sleep because it was crappy 12 hours. I had sleep apnea, my lungs were stopping, I was snoring. What good is
Mm,
12 hours if they're a bad 12? Now I get a good 6 and I feel bad because my old self, I wasted 6 hours every day. Like and now I'm up doing stuff for those 6 hours, so I
right.
you know. Oh, here's a cue. Oh, just quick. Just sub to you, Brian. Thank you, Carnivore Brothers.
Thanks.
Thank you. You guys go and sub to Brian's channel. Question: do you use intermittent fasting?
Yeah, so I do. And again, it depends on if I'm eating one meal or two meals in a day, but most of the time it's two. So most of the time it is about a 18-hour fast because I'll eat like around noon or so, noon, 1 o'clock, and then I'll eat again around 6 p.m. and I don't eat again until like noon the next day. So that would be, yeah, 18 hours. Yeah. So that'd be like an 18-hour fast. So
That's about as most as I do because I'm eating so much meat in a day now. I just don't have time to fast. I gotta eat.
yeah. I don't do long fasting though. Like the longest that I've really done is like maybe 26 hours just, from eating when I was eating one meal a day and then maybe I wasn't hungry right away. So it was a couple hours later than normal before I ate. But I haven't done any like 3, 4 day fasts or anything like that, just the intermittent fasting.
It's good. Uh, Keto flu is when folks first start ketovore and carnivore and their body might react to with runs or cramps from lack of. Yeah, keto flu. If you're
Yeah.
wondering, I'm not sure who posed that question, Judy. Yeah, keto flu. Sometimes people get it when they start carnivore or keto, and sometimes they don't. It just I was already eating a lot of this stuff before. The only problem is I was also throwing in a lot of junk with it. Chips and like the Pizza Hut and stuff like that. I was throwing a lot of junk in there along with the meat, so I didn't give the meat a chance to do any sort of miracle for me.
Yeah. And that's a good point, though, about early on. One of the things that can be important is watching your electrolytes early on. I think as you've been established for a while, it's not as big of a deal. But when you're
Do you take
first going,
electrolytes, Brian?
typically, no, I do not. Um, but early on, I see that because for one thing, you probably had a lot of carbs in your body, so you're going to the bathroom a lot. Um, so you're going to be peeing out a lot of your electrolytes. So definitely, salt, magnesium, and potassium are kind of important to keep an eye on. For me, I don't really take any electrolytes, but my doctor kind of had me taking magnesium and potassium already because the AFib, just to make sure that that was good. And I eat plenty of salt, so I don't run into any problems. My sodium level's good. So I typically don't
Magnesium
run
does
into any
help for
problems.
back problems and stuff, or like muscle pain. It does help reduce
Yeah.
muscle pain a little bit. So
Yeah, it does. I will say though, if you're outside and it's hot and you're sweating a lot, that's when you need to kind of be careful. And a lot of times you think, well, just drinking water, but that doesn't necessarily do it if you don't have something in it. Like maybe it's good to put a little bit of salt in your water or something like that to help get some of the electrolytes back in there.
it's a great tip. Yeah, I really don't worry about electrolytes unless I'm gonna like sweat profusely. Then I'm like, okay, maybe I should get some electrolytes. But normally on a normal day, I don't use them at all. I took
Yeah.
electrolytes nonstop before carnivore. I always felt lethargic, but ever since I got on carnivore, gosh, do I feel great, man. I just haven't needed
Mm,
them.
mm.
You went over some non-scale victories. What's your favorite non-scale victory?
It's definitely the AFib for me because that's been life changing. One of the things when we were talking about before about the ablation possibility, um, that one of the things that scared me with that was that they say that the cardiologist said like when we go in, if one part that needs to be frozen is the part that does your beating, then we have to put a pacemaker in. And I'm like, wow, that this is really hitting me. Like this is real, like this is a pretty could potentially be a pretty bad thing to have happen. And the fact that I don't even have to worry about thinking about whether or not I'm going to have an ablation done now or anything because I just don't go into any episodes anymore. That's just completely life changing for me. Like before, I could if I was working out really with really heavy weights, really strenuous, I could cause enough stress to my heart that I would go into an episode. And now it doesn't happen. I don't have to worry about that. So I don't have to worry about whether or not I'm gonna, cause an episode by working out and so forth. So it's just completely life changing for me.
Yeah, how empowering is that, man, to not live in fear?
Yeah.
That's how I feel with not having a sleep apnea. Because man, before carnivore diet, man, I would go to bed and I wouldn't know if that was going to be my last time being awake, being
Mm,
alive, because if I just had those 3 moments where I went to bed and I woke up and my lungs weren't working and then I almost died. It just was so hard to get my lungs started back up. And you go to bed and you wonder, man, is this going to be the last time I'm looking at my wife and my son? It just, you never know, man. And I feel more empowered now that I got the carnivore diet because I don't live with that fear no more about my sleep apnea. It's gone. It's like I
yeah.
beat it to death with a bat, man. It's never coming back, and I'm glad it didn't treat me well. I'm good riddance. You know what I'm saying? What's your favorite cut of beef, Brian?
It's definitely ribeye. Definitely ribeye. Yeah, it's got the right amount of fat to it, content. So ribeye is my favorite. I'd say New York strip is probably my second favorite.
Oh, yeah, I do like the
But
New York strip too. It just don't got enough
yeah,
fat.
Yeah, if I'm gonna have New York strip, I'm probably gonna put some butter on top of it, like, as a melted butter brush type thing or something, but yeah,
I
ribeye is
tore up the
definitely my
T-bone
favorite.
steak the other day, man. It literally,
Mm.
I held the bone up. It was a T when I was done with it. That's all that was left, man. That's all that was left. Yeah, no, I feel like the ribeye, it's just got that perfect amount of fat and meat ratio. It's for carnivore. It's so good. I just wish the price on them damn ribeyes would come down.
Yeah.
Now, here's a fun one. Would you take $1 million, Brian, to go back to your old way of eating? That's a lot of money.
No, no. The health benefits and everything and, how good I feel and, you know, yeah, I just no, I would not.
Yeah, and people think that's a loaded question. And it's really not though, because you've been on carnivore diet enough long enough to know whether it's bunk or not. Like if you were like, man, no, this diet sucks, dude. Give me the money. You would know.
Yeah.
You've been on it long enough.
I mean, before doing carnivore, and even before starting the keto thing, like I couldn't even tell you if I would still be alive today because I just didn't feel good
Me
and
too,
I
man.
knew that, things weren't right and I was unhealthy and, I had the really bad problems with the AFib and one of the things with AFib that you have to worry about is when you go into episodes, you're higher risk for stroke and so forth. So, yeah, there's no question. I mean, I would say no to that money and stay carnivore, stay healthy.
Absolutely. Rick reminded me of something the other day. We're on here chatting, and someone brought up something about YouTube and how I'm doing in the carnivore niche because I came from a different niche. I was in the family niche on YouTube, and I was telling them that obviously I was making more money and getting more views doing the family niche, and because that crowd literally abandoned me when I went to the carnivore, which is fine. But then Rick brought up a great point, man, and it just drove it home. He was like, I said, well, maybe if I had stuck with that other niche, I'd probably be at 100,000 subscribers by now. He's like, yeah, if you were still alive. And I was like, oh,
Mm,
wow. Mm, mm.
yeah.
I didn't even think of that one. So it's like you guys have to weigh what's important to you. Like you can maybe be going down a certain road, but if it's going to lead you to an early destruction, you know what I'm saying? How much is it worth to you? So I'm having it's like a passion project now. Talking to you about your goals and stuff.
So let me tell you something. This is interesting. The other day I was telling somebody about some study that I saw where a certain percentage of people had been eating more of a meat based diet and they lived to be 100. And whoever I was mentioning it to was somebody, actually, it was somebody within the family, but I won't say who. They mentioned, well, I'm not going to want to live to 100. And, they're not necessarily in the best health. And I'm like thinking, well, I do. I want to live to 100 because
Especially if
I
I'm
plan
feeling
on
like
being
this.
healthy. Yeah. Like I plan on being healthy. I'm not going to feel bad, hopefully, because I'm going to keep eating like this and, keep getting healthier. Like it's amazing. Like, like I said, I'm almost 50 here. Just a couple months, I'll be 50, but I feel more like I did in like my late 20s or early 30s at this point.
That's why you're looking younger. You're feeling younger. I really,
Yeah.
age is just a number. It's how you're feeling. It's how you're treating yourself. It's what vibration you're in, man. And before I was in a very low, and do you guys know we don't know what the highest level of vibration is. No one's got that awareness yet, but we do know what the lowest level of vibration is. It's death. And
Mm.
it's death because even a dead body still vibrates. That's how it turns to dust. It shakes and then it's not getting any more water, so it dries out. And as it shakes, it just turns to dust. So you guys, we don't want to be in a low vibration. We want to be in a high vibration. We just want to, and two, if you guys are stuck out there, you guys have to come up with a vision of what you want, where you want to go. Brian, did you have a vision? Like you must have saw in your head, like, dude, I want to see myself, like you said, that vision of you being with the grandkids and seeing them. And you think it's a
Mm.
coincidence that now he's looking better, feeling better, looking younger, doing better. He's more healthy. because he's got a vision. He has a vision of what he wanted, why he wanted to get healthy. And I think you guys need to get a vision, even write it down, but have a vision, and then you're going to start taking actions, so if you got a vision to get healthy, you say, well, carnivore, I'm going to buy some meat. Start taking those actions, and when you start taking all those actions, you're going to realize you're suddenly unstuck, and you're not stuck anymore, and you've got good momentum. But you can't get unstuck, and you can't gain any momentum in your life unless you have a vision, a clear vision. Just wanted to
And
put
keep
that out there, guys.
and keep reminding yourself of that vision.
Yeah, you have to. We our mind works like with pictures. Like if I tell you to picture your car, whatever color it is, shape it is, brand, model, the logo, everything, your a picture of your car flashes on your mind, or your house, or wherever, or your family. That's how we see. We see in our mind with pictures. So we have to have a clear vision of ourselves being healthy, seeing ourselves eating healthy, and that's exactly what we're gonna do. Let's
Mm.
see here. I like asking this one. You do eat eggs. So if you could have your eggs one way for the rest of your life, what would it be, Brian?
Hmm. Wow. Um, One way, this actually might be different, but I'm gonna say hard boiled.
Oh, really? For
Yeah.
me, it changes the smell of the egg totally when it's hard
It
boiled.
it is, but I like to do the hard boiled egg and put some salt on it, take a bite, put some more salt on it. That's the best that way.
Yeah, no, there's nothing wrong with that. I get most of the people say scrambled, but nothing wrong with that. Hard boiled. Um, do you think that the carnivores and the vegans can get along, and the vegetarians, and do you think there's a reason to fight? Can we get along?
So we could get along. Um, and I can't say like the vegans just are that against carnivores because there are people in the carnivore community that put down the vegans as well.
Yeah,
Um,
half the people on chatting with carnivores are ex-vegans. That's why I don't
mm,
argue with them, because you might lose an ally.
yeah,
Just
it's
just
true.
lead by example, and then they might say, "Hey, that guy wasn't a jerk to me. He didn't try to slap me with a steak in the face." You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. But I mean, so here's the thing, like I personally don't think it's my place to tell somebody how they're going to eat. I might think that I know the best way that a human should eat, which I think is the proper human diet, the carnivore diet. But I'm not gonna say that somebody can't eat a certain way. If somebody is actually getting healthier because they went to vegan and they're not doing all the carbs and so forth that they used to do, right? Like, all the bad sugar and seed oils and all that. It's possible to do more of a whole foods vegan diet, and you're actually doing better than what you were in the standard American diet. Now, it's harder to do that long term. You got to do a lot of supplements and so forth, but people will do that. And I personally wouldn't do that, and that's fine. But I'm not going to be against somebody that's doing that. I have friends that eat a lot of salads and stuff. I'm not going to say they're vegan because I don't think I know anybody that's completely vegan or anything. But I don't sit there and say like, yeah, you really shouldn't be eating that. I tell them my experiences and what I do and how it's helped me, and I just leave it at that.
That's great. Yeah, I it's best to not argue with anybody, because then, like I was just saying, you're gonna lose an ally, and half the people on chatting with carnivores have been ex-vegan. So and really though, if you switch to vegan, man, and you're thriving, like you're genuinely thriving, you're not just saying you're thriving to say you're not wrong, like you're not like, like crapping your guts out and sleeping all day and then telling everybody, yeah, I'm thriving. But if you're actually doing great, man, and you're thriving, good for you, but it just, that way of eating and that type of stuff, like I never tried vegan, but all the other stuff I tried besides carnivore diet, it just wasn't for me. Didn't treat my body well. So like you said, all I can do is just tell you what works for me. And then
Mm,
if eating fruits, and like Joe Rogan, I got, man, if he's eating mostly meat, and then he throws in a little bit of vegetables and fruits, and it's working for him. Cool, man, cool. That's great. But like, I
Yeah.
can't, I can't eat all those fruits and stuff because then I'm gonna be wanting more sugar stuff. I'm gonna want. It's just gonna lead me down a bad spot. But other people don't. Some people got stronger willpower than me, but I know my triggers, so I just try to stay away from them. You know. What about you? Do you know your triggers? Do you try to stay away from triggers, or do you just go right at the triggers, Brian?
Yeah, I try and stay away from because I definitely know that, the willpower isn't always there, so I gotta stay away from 'em.
Now, before we wrap up, what's on your heart, man? What would you like to talk to the people about?
Um, so, I think if you're watching this and you're not already doing carnivore or you're thinking about doing carnivore and you've probably heard from a lot of people that it's not good for you, it's not healthy and so forth, because a lot of people have told me that before too. Like probably the biggest um the biggest people against the carnivore diet that I've seen are my actual doctors. So I don't even tell them I'm doing carnivore. Like I kind of told them at the beginning that I was kind of doing keto, and they're like, "Oh, that's not good." So then I kind of changed it into making them think I'm doing like the Mediterranean diet, and I just don't
Tell
say
them just
anything.
check the numbers. Just
Yeah,
check the numbers and
exactly.
shut up.
So getting back to it here, I just think, if you're watching this, you probably are looking for some way to get healthier and lose weight and so forth. And the thing is, just give it a try. Again, I say that you should ease into it, but with easing into it, give it 30 to 60 days, maybe even 90 days. And I can almost guarantee that if you ease into it and you go 60, 90 days, you're not going to want to stop. You're going to feel so much better, especially if you have health issues now, you have autoimmune issues, or you're just sore or whatever, or you need to lose weight. You're gonna lose the weight, and we talk about losing weight, but really it's not about losing weight. It's the body fat that
The
you're
fat.
trying to lose, right?
Yeah, we don't
So
want to lose
you're
muscle.
yeah, exactly. You're not going to lose as much weight as you're thinking because you're going to be gaining muscle, which does weigh, but you're losing more fat. So when you lose, so like I talked about how I've lost 80 pounds, I've really lost more than that in body fat because I've been gaining muscle. So just think about it that way, and just, give it a try. I think you're going to find that you're not going to want to stop because you feel so much better. And it's just amazing all the different healing things that people find doing this diet.
Absolutely. Give yourself a chance to feel better. That's what I say, man. Just give yourself a chance. You know what? And if you're at rock bottom, you're already at rock bottom, man. There's only up from here. Like what do you if and it's too, it's like if you've already think you're on your way out, what do you got to lose? And you've got everything to gain. You've got all your health to gain back, all your activities to gain back, your being with your family, more family memories. Like we literally have everything to gain, especially if you're at rock bottom, so give it a
Mm.
try. I love that, Brian. Did you have fun, man?
Oh yeah, yeah.
It
This
went
is
quick,
great.
didn't it?
It sure did.
It goes quick, I'm telling you. And you guys, I am so thankful for all you guys in the chats and everybody like Brian that comes on here and shares their story. It's so amazing. If you guys want to get on here too, like Brian, and share your story, Poko Moonshine Family at gmail.com. Hit me up. I'll send you my digital calendar and we'll make it a done deal. You guys, this has been a blast. Brian says you would come back, right?
Oh yeah,
For,
definitely.
for an
And
update?
thank you for having me and let me share my story with your audience.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for sharing your story because it's just too important, man. I only got healthy thanks to Carrie sharing his story, and now I'm just obsessed with sharing people's stories so I can help somebody out there, with your story through your story, and we can
Mm.
change somebody's life out there. Because I was in a dark place, man. It was really a dark place, and I needed someone to be that beacon of light, and I feel like for all the people who are in a dark place right now and not feeling good, and like there might be other people, man, with a week long, they got their foot hurts and they've got sticking it in a warm bath and they're icing it, and there's all sorts of people with all sorts of problems right now, and it's so mind-boggling when you try to grasp all that nonsense and problems that are going on. But we need to just hold firm, stand our ground, and keep shining bright, man. Keep being a beacon of light, sharing our stories, you guys. Every single one of you, not just Brian, everybody. Please share your stories, and just be the change you want to see. And when someone asks you about why you are the way you are, let them know. Let them know whatever you want, but don't force it on them, right, Brian?
Yep. I mean, if this video only helps one person, it's still worth it.
Absolutely, because that you never know what change that one person could bring about. Because look,
Yep.
Carrie sharing his story. I've shared so many stories off of him sharing his story, so you just never know the domino effect. But you guys, that's been this episode. My coach always says repetition is the first law of learning. So please replay this. There's value in Brian, and there's value in his story. So replay this back, get all the good info. You're gonna laugh some more. You're gonna smile. It's a great time we have here. But you guys, that's this episode. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Thank you and goodbye.